Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Before I begin this video and you'd like to use OCD Recovery's coaching services, please reach out to Phil at ocdrecovery.com and he'll get back to you as quick as he can. So on today's video, guys, I wanted to speak about using pain as motivation to change. And this is key, right? Your motivation to change needs to be greater than the pain that you currently find yourself in, right? Because if not, you're going to find that OCD is still going to have the upper hand. You're still going to find that you're falling into your compulsions, your avoidance behaviors, your reassurance, all the counterproductive things for OCD. You're going to find that you're going to keep on doing those. You need to have this innate desire in your core to say, you know what, I want to give it all I can to recover. Okay. And I'm not saying, be really compulsive, maybe like writing notes everywhere, like being really rigid, reading the book like in a day, but it's consistency compounded over time, and you need to think like, I need to recover for me here. I'm doing this because I want to change. Like, I've been in pain for so long. You might have been really restricted in your life so far because of OCD. You might like barely leave the house, you might not have a partner, you might not have a job, you might be feeling really anxious, you might have panic attacks, stomach issues, brain fog, all these health challenges. Like, I had a few of those. I used to have really bad heart palpitations, and I just thought to myself, it got to a point where you think, right, I've got to just try and give this my all. I've got to try and change, because this isn't life, right? I'm living this life, I'm on earth for this finite amount of time, and I'm spending it where OCD is calling the shots, where OCD has all the cards, and when I'm playing into the hands of OCD, and I'm just exchanging all my time, all these short-term moments of gratification, compulsions, Googling, reassurance, for OCD to be dominating my life in the long run, right? And there's got to come a time where you think, you know what, no, I don't want to have this anymore. I don't want to live like this. And sometimes, that moment won't come. Sometimes people don't want to recover. Sometimes people don't want to put the work in, and that's absolutely fine. But if your desire to change is very low, and there's no sort of motivation to get better, right, then there's not going to be much progress. I had lots of things that I wanted to get better at, and there was lots of things that OCD took away from me. Dating, my confidence, sex drive and libido, physical health, relationships with other people, my work. And I had no money for a little while because I wasn't working. I just sort of put work off. I was scared to take risks, scared to travel, and all of those things. I remember I sat down once and I just wrote down like all of the things that OCD has taken from me and tried to take from me, and I wrote that down like with my belief and had it on paper. And you read over it and you think, right, it's taking so much from me here. Surely it's at least worth giving it my best shot, right? Surely I'm, I can get better here, and surely I can reclaim some of my life, because I don't want to go on like this. I had chronic anxiety, rumination, HOCD, ROCD, magic thinking for 10 years, and you got to think, if I live to the age of 80, that's like 1 in 8 days of my life. That's like 12.5%. And considering that I'm asleep as well, that's probably about half of my life lost to OCD when you put it like that. So it's a very damning thing to realize, the time that's elapsed in the OCD cycle. And that was the biggest motivation for me. I thought, I have to change. I can reclaim my life here. And you need to have these sort of motivators. I'll give you another example as well. Like, I remember when I was really scared of talking to women, right? And I'd have like countless opportunities to speak to women, maybe someone I found attractive, someone who's looking at me on a night out, and I bottled it, right? And I'd go home and I'd think about that opportunity that I missed, and I'd beat myself up, and it'd almost feel like those feelings of pain in there. And it was like with that, like I could keep going on like that, not doing the exposure because it wasn't exposure at the time, and I could keep staying stuck, or I could just, take the leap, push through that discomfort, and unlock the freedom for myself in the long run, right? And that's exactly what you want to do, because you're in prison. OCD will have you where it wants you. It'll have you in a prison. It will hold the keys to the lock to let you out. You're shackled, right? And the only way out of that is through. So it's so important to see, what can I get from recovery, if I put this work in for the next, 2 to 3 years on a 2 to 3 years on a consistent basis, you know, what things could I obtain? And you need to have that desire, that internal drive to actually want to achieve that. And, really looking at your current situation now and really looking at maybe how difficult it is, and thinking, I can't go on like this, right? So, as I said, your motivation to change needs to be greater than the pain that you are going through, right? And, it's the end of the year. It's 2024. Maybe spend some time to reflect on the year that you've had. You'll know in yourself the areas that you need to work on. Maybe you're putting off those exposures. Maybe you're doing too many compulsions. Maybe you're asking for too much reassurance. Maybe you're not being consistent for the recovery work. Maybe you're doing 22 minutes here and there. Maybe there's no consistency. You'll know in yourself where you are going wrong at the moment, right? And you need to be brutally honest and transparent with yourself, because otherwise, you're not going to progress. So think about the year that you've had, right? And use that as fuel and motivation to head into next year and think, right, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to work on. I'm going to tackle recovery head on, like my life depends on it. Again, I'm not saying compulsive. I'm not saying try too hard and, read the books for 2 hours a day and write out 20 pages of beliefs every day. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to use that as motivation, right? And of course, next year, when it's a new year, you're going to feel motivated probably for a few weeks. It's New Year's resolutions. We see this with people at the gym. They stick to it for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden the bad habits start creeping in. So you are going to need to do the best you can to stay motivated, stay disciplined. Think about what's, at the end of this. Think about what the finish line is. I don't like to use that term, but I'm just, think about what you're aiming for. Is it better relationships? Is it better physical health? Is it more energy? Is it more vitality? There's so many things that come with recovery, and it is so worth it. I can tell you that for now. I'd much rather be sat here than stuck chronically anxious like I was for 10 years. And it's not a life like that. It really isn't. And the fact that you have the chance to recover, people would have killed for this opportunity. Even 50 years ago, OCD's come, OCD's been in the dark ages for so long, and you've got this opportunity to recover. Like, think about your ancestors who probably had OCD. Think about them who was walking around like 400 or 500 years ago, probably chronically stuck with OCD, maybe even took their life too soon because they just didn't know how to get out. They didn't get that chance. They didn't get that opportunity, right? And you have that opportunity. You can change. You can take your life back. You can get back to a place where you can't tell whether you have OCD, and you have that baseline level of calm. So I really just want you to think about that. Think about the pain that it's caused you, everything that it's stopped you from doing, and think, do I want this to be my life anymore? And if the answer is no, and if your motivation to change is greater than the pain that you're going through, then yes, you're going to move on towards a path of recovery because you're going to put the work in. Sure, there's no guarantee, but the likelihood is that you will. So really have a think about that as we head into next year. Think about the year that you've had. Think about where there's room for improvement, and just think about how you can change your life next year, because you can do it. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.